He peed himself?
He peed himself.
Oh my God. Do you ever like get off your shift and just have to sit in your car for a second?
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at him and I'm like, why are your hands so soft? And all of his friends start laughing right.
It was only 40 minutes of that, and I got off the table and I was just like,
Drains. Welcome back.
Welcome back to Changing 100.
You know what? I always said that I wasn't going to say that because I think that's so cheesy.
Welcome
but
back.
I don't know how else to start. Welcome back to Changing 100. On this week's episode, we have our What the Fuck Updates of the week.
Yes, we're starting out. We're getting a little feel of how we're going to run this show.
And we've realized we have a what the fuck moment every week at work.
Every day at work.
Almost every day.
Some days go without.
I was trying to think if I had one the last 2 days, and I don't really think I had one. But nothing crazy really happened. But at least once a week, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
So we have WTF updates, what the fuck updates. We're going to talk about advantage players, and then we're going to talk about culture, regular dealers, party pit dealers, what makes us different, love-hate relationship. We'll get into it.
All right.
So what's your what the fuck update this week?
Okay, my first one. I had this guy. He played there pretty much all night. He was in and out of the casino all night. But he had a hat on that said, "Same vagina forever." And it took me a second to realize what that meant. But then I realized it was his bachelor party. And that was his thing. It just said, "Same vagina forever," because clearly he's getting married. And clearly they're not in an open relationship. It's going to be the same vagina for the rest of his life.
But yeah, the shirts, have you seen the ones that say, "I love hot moms"? I've been seeing that one a lot lately.
I have seen that one. I saw that one yesterday. And then yesterday I also saw a shirt that said, "Stop fucking broke men."
Oh my God.
And I was like, whoa. If you're going to wear that shirt, you better have bands.
Better back it up, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I need to see a rollie on your wrist. I need to see some fine shoes. Like, I need a good belt. And he was just like in jeans and this t-shirt. And I was like,
so now that you're saying that, this is a little tangent, but that's how you kind of like assess someone, right? Do you have the checklist to know if someone has money or not?
No, I don't, because the ones who always have money and can play with me, you'd never guess.
No?
No.
See, so for me, what I was taught when I was younger, I don't know if this is toxic. You look at the watch, you look at the shoes, and then you look at the type of phone that they have.
Ooh.
They'll always have the latest phone. They'll have a fancy watch. And not like a blinged out diamonds.
Yeah.
They could easily
just
have a Rolex, like a very nice Rolex.
Watch.
Yeah. It could be a $20,000 Rolex, and it can look like a regular watch. But I was taught that when I was younger.
I feel like when I look at like men, I look to see how well put together you are.
Yeah, that too. But then again, some people have money.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyways.
Yeah, so the same vagina forever hat. That was a solid what the fuck of the week. Because I was watching him walk around and he was with one dude and I was like, is he just wearing that? Like outlandishly? And then at the end of the night, he had like 6 dudes with him. And I was like, oh, it's his bachelor party.
Now it makes sense.
It's his bachelor party.
Was it in big print or did you have to really look at it?
No, it was a white hat. It had a hot pink like bill. And then the font was hot pink with sparkles.
And now I want to know, did he buy that? Did his friends buy that? Did his fiance give it to him?
I'm sure he got it at like the ABC store across the street, like one of the touristy Vegas shops, and got something outlandish. I'm sure someone got it for him. But I feel like I would not know. Personally, I don't know of a single man that would be like, let me buy this hat and wear it. But who knows? I don't know.
Who knows?
It's
Vegas. It's Vegas.
Okay, what's your
never know.
What's your what the fuck update?
Should I do the grown man having an accident?
Absolutely.
On purpose?
Absolutely. Wait, was he not drunk?
I don't know. It shouldn't be my story to tell, but I was in the building. I'm standing. I was in the other pit, and I see security swarm. That's your first indication something's happening. So everyone's like following security. Where are they going?
I'm so nosy. As soon as I see one security guard run, I'm like, what's going on?
Me too.
I'm like, can you duck so I can see what's happening?
Can you move out of my way? And I follow security. We're all following security. And it didn't look like anything happened. security talked to this guy on the table. He got up and they walked away. So I was like, okay, maybe he said something or did something, got kicked out, whatever. Nothing serious. Start walking off the floor for break, and the dealer that was in the situation with that player is just like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And I'm like, what happened? And she goes, you know those guys that always come in? I'm like, no, I'm never on that side of the casino, but go on. Tell me what happened. She said he was playing, he got off the table, left his money there, walked towards the slot machines, stood there for a moment, pants started getting wet. He came back to the blackjack table and sat down. And she had a little panic moment. She was like, oh my God, what do I do? So immediately calls the floor over. Floor calls security. Security goes up to the man and tells him, you gotta go.
He peed himself?
He peed himself.
Oh my God. I thought he like peed on a slot machine or something.
Oh, no.
But he actually just peed himself.
He wet his pants.
But he knew he was going to do it.
Yeah.
So he got up, walked over there, wet himself.
And then came back to the table. Security goes up to him, tells him, sir, you gotta go. And they tell him in, I guess, so many ways, we know what you did. You peed your pants. You gotta go. He tries to argue.
It's not allowed on the casino floor.
He tries to argue and say, no, I spilled a drink. And then security said, we have it on camera. You have to go.
Don't ever fucking argue.
Don't argue with security if you're in a casino.
There's so many cameras.
Losing battle.
And so many different angles. And I've seen those cameras. They can literally see better than I can. Like, they can zoom all the way in. Oh my goodness. I didn't know he peed himself.
He peed himself.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
Because we had a guy one time pee on the roulette table.
Yeah, I heard
like he was
about
playing
that.
roulette and he just was like, peed on the table. And the girl was like,
wild.
The girl was like, hold on. What's going on? I only saw it because I saw a pad come and clean it.
Uh-huh.
And they were like on their hands and knees and they had like the gloves and the masks and they were doing all the stuff. And I was like, wait, what happened? Someone was like, oh, he peed on the table. Like just on the side of it.
Just another
Not
day.
Not on the table, but
yeah.
Like just peed down the side of the table. I didn't realize he peed himself. What in the world?
And then try to argue security. I think that's the best part, is that he tried to say, no, I spilled a drink on myself. But there were multiple witnesses.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Disgusting.
Wow, that was a good one. That was a good what the fuck.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? I feel like that's probably happened. Like, I had a moment like that with me. Well, I'll just say another time. But I feel like I've heard at least 2 or 3 stories of people peeing, shitting themselves at the table. Yo.
Yeah,
don't get that drunk.
So, yeah, casino life. Is that casino life? I guess, yeah, casino life.
That's wild. I feel like one day we got to interview a security guard.
Oh, for sure. Oh, my. Yes. I want to know some spicy stories.
Some crazy shit, though. Those poor security guards, especially downtown, like, those men do not get paid enough.
They do not.
They do not get paid enough.
So, moving on. Do you know what counting cards is on blackjack?
Yes.
Counting cards.
And I would love to learn how to do it, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. I've tried. There's definitely, there's apps out there now where you can just practice on your phone. Anyways, clarifying for our non-industry people, a card counter and anyone who tries to take advantage of the game in any way, they're called advantage players. They're frowned upon. They're not, this is interesting. They're not cheaters, right? A card counter is not a cheater.
I know it's not illegal either.
Yes, that's the thing. It's not illegal. That's why they're
just don't like it.
Yeah, that's why they're called advantage players.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because you can't call them cheaters. You can't tell them they're doing anything wrong. They just figured out how to have an edge over a game. Mm-hmm. So, have you ever experienced an advantage player on your table?
He was so nice. I'm not gonna lie. He was so nice, and he was doing really well. And it was when I first started dealing. I was only in blackjack because I tapped my friend off the table, and she was like, "Oh, this is my friend. Like, he's really nice." I don't think they were actually friends. I think he just came and played a few times.
Okay.
And just would only play with her. So I was playing with him, and he goes, I think he was super drunk, and he was like, yeah, well, I count cards. And I like look at him, and I immediately like look around because I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
You're put in a situation now. You're like, what?
I'm like, now I'm in a weird spot.
Yeah.
You should have just kept counting. I probably would never known. Like, and he was super nice, and he was like, yeah, I'm trying really hard not to do it here because I actually like this casino and I don't want to get kicked out. But I think once you count cards, you just count cards.
Right? Like, how do you sit at a blackjack table and not do it? Well, I guess he can do it and still play, like, in the happy medium.
Yeah.
Because one thing I've heard, and I don't know everything about advantage players or card counters, but they will start doing wacky things.
Mm-hmm.
They will split tens.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They'll do things like that. And obviously, they'll go from a table minimum of $10 or $15, whatever the minimum is, to all of a sudden $1,000, $500.
Right.
Even $100 jump is a lot for a $15 minimum player. Yeah. And they'll start doing weird stuff like splitting tens or doubling on a 12, stuff like that. And that's one of the cues that you have an advantage or a card counter on the table. I've never really noticed it.
Mm.
The only thing that has happened to me, it's only happened twice, is I'm dealing, not thinking anything, and all of a sudden my manager comes up behind me and goes, color him up. And I'm like, okay. Grab the guy's chips, I color it up, and I give him his right, and he leaves. And I'm just standing there like, what happened?
So that means that there's a card counter and your manager caught it or surveillance caught it.
Yeah.
And he's got to go.
One time, the other time it happened, the player kind of tried to argue, and he was like, why? And the manager was just like, color him up.
Yeah.
He left.
I had that happen to me one time too. They like stopped the game, and they're like, this is your last hand, you have to leave after this. And he was like, I don't understand, like what, like I lose all this money, you don't give me a chance to gain it back. And he's like, you know why you have to leave? You have to leave. Like, you're not allowed on this property or any of our sister properties. Like, you have to leave. This is your last hand. And security was like, there's like 5 security guards. Like,
dang.
Yeah, it was a lot. I don't know if he came regularly or what, but yeah, had to color him up, and then he ended up leaving. I also had, I remember it was on like, it says single deck. I can't remember, but it was like a dad, his daughter, and his daughter's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like clearly card counting. But it was interesting because I think the dad was trying to teach the dude how to card count.
Oh, damn. Yeah, with lesson going on.
Because he'd be like, okay, well, what do you do?
Hmm.
And he would like hit it, and then everybody would lose. And he'd be like, okay, that wasn't right, obviously. Like, but he would hit it, and the dad would be like,
not ready.
Yeah, but I'd be like slapping him a card because I'm like, listen, this is my job too, right? Like,
yeah.
And that happened. I don't know if you know this, but we actually have a floor who, I don't want to say like specializes in that, but like used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And is really good at it. Do you know what floor?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll be surprised how many people are floors because they are 86 from playing. So they just go on the other side of the table.
He was explaining to me, he was like, some casinos really like people like me because I can catch everything.
Yeah.
Or like I know all the ins and outs, or I know like how they're doing this, and so like I know what I'm looking for. But he's always in high limit. And I remember one day he like came downstairs and he would just put out one table, but he doesn't like watch the table. He like pretends like he's watching TV, and he'll like eyeballs it, like his eyes will go to the side. And they brought him down twice that day for like 2 different tables.
Oh wow.
And he's only ever in high limit. So, like, they brought him down. He was on the casino. And then, like, after, like, a few minutes, he'll just, like, make a phone call. And then he goes back upstairs. And then the next thing you know, here comes security. And people getting kicked out.
That's very interesting. You can't get away with anything at casinos.
He was telling me that, like, he's like, sometimes I apply to casinos. And they're like, nope. And other times I apply to casinos. And they're like, absolutely. Like,
yeah, that's really interesting because
I feel like I would love that if I was a casino manager.
But then he could be a risk because you don't know what kind of ring he could be running.
I didn't think about that. That's true. But he does has he ever told you any of his stories?
Mm-mm. I just heard him.
We should have him on this podcast because he's super interesting.
Yeah, I just heard him say vaguely that that's what he used to do. And that was it.
He used to like cheat craps too.
Whoa.
Like, he knows how to count cards. He says the only games he doesn't play is like poker games because there's nothing you can really do about that. But he used to like cheat craps.
How do you do that?
Should I just tell you a story? You know how like some players like hold their chips like to their chests like they've been in prison and like they're like worried about losing them?
Yeah.
So he had like a stack of chips that he glued together.
Oh, shit.
And he drilled down the middle of them. So it was like a hole. And he put dice in the middle of them. And he would just always hold his chips like in his hands. And then he would go like throw the dice. And he would have the real dice in his chips. And then he'd throw his dice. And then like at the end he would like switch them out and like throw and then color up and leave. He'd be like, all right, I'm done. Wow. And like color up and leave.
Wow.
And he said, but he was telling me, he's like, now it's harder because there's cameras everywhere. People have been caught. People know what to look for. He said, when I was doing it, he was like, it wasn't that intense.
One of the casinos I worked at, we had a training to catch advantage players, and the person who taught that class was an advantage player. And they constantly are like revamping it. This guy's making a ton of money now trying to catch cheaters, so it doesn't help all the advantage players out there.
Right.
I don't know, it's a weird world.
I had a guy, he used to come in a lot. He had 2 guys with him. And he does the typical like table minimum and then boom, $800 bet.
There you go.
Does something typical like that. And he always plays 2 hands. And he watches the cards. And I remember I was literally dealing and he's explaining to the 2 guys behind me, right in front of me, like, nope, this is going to be a little card. This is going to be a high card. Like, I'm going to wave this. Even though you should hit it, I'm going to wave it because the next one's going to be a high one. And then she's going to bust. And so I told our floor, the floor that like knows what's going on. Because I was like, listen, he's a good tipper, but he's making it pretty obvious at this point. Like,
at this point, I might lose my job, so I got to say something.
I was like, at this point, like, exactly. Like, he's literally explaining to these dudes behind him right in front of me. Like, he's doing $25 bets, $800, $25 bets, $800. Like, I can't not say something, right? So I say something to him. He goes downstairs. He's watching it. He's like, he's not counting. And I was like, how is he? He's winning every fucking, he's right with everything he says. How is he not counting? I don't understand. And he was telling me, he's like, there's a pattern that the cards come out in. And, like, he just knows the pattern really well.
So there's a pattern to it, too?
Yeah. He's like, there's, like, a specific pattern. And he's like, that's why he plays 2 hands. Because he knows if he loses this one, he'll, like, recatch the pattern. Or if the pattern changes, he'll recatch it in his brain. And then he'll win this one. And at least he pushes.
That's wild.
And I was like, what? Because this guy came in and he would play, like, 1 shoe and then color up.
And that's it?
And then hit another table 1 shoe. But he always won tons of money.
That is so...
And
he has to be counting.
And I was like, how is he not counting? I don't understand. And he was like, he's not counting. He's just not counting. And I was like, all right, whatever.
We're going to have to get a second opinion on this.
Right, exactly. Yeah, those were really my only... Because I never deal blackjack anymore. I'm usually on roulette, and I don't really know how you, like, trick roulette. Unless you, like, place bets after the wave, but that's easy enough to catch, like...
That's advantage players and then players taking shots.
Yeah.
Right? There's difference because players taking shots do that kind of annoying stuff where they'll try to place bets after you wave it off, or if you're on a blackjack table or any table, when you're not looking in that direction, they'll try to put more money, especially if they have a good hand and all that stuff. I hate that. That's scummy.
Yeah.
I respect the advantage players more than the players who take shots.
Oh my God, the players who take shots. We had a girl who, I don't know how she got the job, but she clearly has never dealt before in her life. Was on a table by herself. I'm watching her. She can like barely count. She doesn't know how to break chips down properly. And she's got like a soft 17. I think she's got like 4 cards out. And it takes her a minute to be like, what number is this? And so I'm watching her. I'm dancing on the box. And I'm like, all right. Like, I'm literally, the floor was like, I'm busy. Can you please watch her? No, literally, that's what the floor said to me. So I'm on the box dancing and watching her table. And the guy's like, oh, nope, table win. And she's got a soft 17. I was like, no, hit it again. And she like kind of looks at me and she's like, oh, what to do? And he's like, no, 17, like we all win. And I was like, No, she has a soft 17. She's supposed to hit it again. So I get off the box because she's like, and he's like, no, it's 17. And I point at the table and I said, dealer must hit soft 17 because it says it on the table. And I was like, take another card. She pulled a 4. And I was like, take all their money. And I was like, that's what you get.
That's what you get.
That's what you
for trying to take advantage of someone who you know is not, who's new.
Who's new.
That's what you get.
Yeah. I feel like I never really had that happen to me, though, personally. But I feel like it's my personality. Like, I've never really had players, like, try and take shots
do that?
Yeah, and take shots at me like that.
I'll have players who will do things like that. Like, if I hit a 20, they're like, oh, 19, if they have a 20, and they'll just try to throw me off a little bit. And I'll just look at them and I smile and I go, Have you ever counted on your hands to somebody? If they need the help, yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's
for
what I
myself,
meant.
no.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I remember they were like, that's 18. I was like, sorry, this is 20. It's 18. I think I get like a 19. It's 18. And I was like, here's 10.
Yeah. You
and
take the cards. Like, you're like, the 7 and the 3 is 10.
Yes. I was like, here's 10. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15 plus the 3, 16, 17, 18, or whatever. What did I say? 20? I don't fucking know. And I like literally like was like this for him on my hands. And then he sat back and I was like, can we fucking move on?
Yeah, can I keep dealing?
Like, all I do is count to 21, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Like, believe me, I know what number this is.
When I make a mistake and a player points it out, I'll look at them and I go, I get 1. This is my 1.
This is my 1 mistake.
You're not going to get me again.
That's a good one. I'm going to remember that. I remember, like, I had a really crazy roulette table, and I was, like, clearing it, and I mean, just, like, mounds, like, everywhere, like, mounds, splits, corners, like, the whole table was full. There was nothing, like, no matter what hit, you were paying something out, like, and this guy kept being like, I had a corner, I had a split, I had this, and I'm like, bro, okay, one time, all right, whatever, and I remember he had it, and it was, like, clearly on the corner, but he was like, that was supposed to be a split, and it was his first time, and I'm like, it's a corner, dude. And he was like, well, I was supposed to put it on the split. And I was like, whatever. I called the floor over. He's like, all right, no big deal. So I pushed him his payout. I think it was like 52. I pushed him his payout. And I removed the thing. And he doesn't tip me. And I was like, all right. Like, noted. And the guy next to him was like, yo, bro, you better tip her.
Thank you.
Thank you, kind civilian. Like, so then he like throws me $3, and then after that, never tipped me again. You're the ones paying me. You're how I live. So I'm here to make money. I also want you to win. Like, I want you to do well. It's not fun I hate when people are like, you want us to lose to this, and I'm like, bro, if I could give you all this money in the rack, you think it's fun for me to sit at a table for a whole hour?
Yeah, and just
take all your money,
take everyone's
and
money.
You're losing and you're buying it. Like, that's not fun for me either. I don't want to do that.
No, we like the opposite. Empty the rack and make sure our tokes are half of the rack.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I'll give you all of it as long as you share.
That's what I tell people on Texas Hold'em when they do the progressive.
Oh, yeah,
and they're like, I'm trying, like, let's get that, Tori. Come on, like, let's do that one. And I'm like, and I think right now it's at like 247,000.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's at right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, this is what I always say to people. I'm like, listen, if you hit this, I get a new car. And they're like, well, what kind of car? And I'm like, I want a Tahoe. And I'm like, but I'll take an old Tahoe. So I want at least 30 of this, like 30,000 of this. And they're like, if I hit this, I'll give you the 47. And I'm like, that's a deal.
I'll take it.
But
before or after taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
I have not done that yet. We'll talk about that another time. But the progressives, and hitting progressives, I want one day to hit. I want to be the dealer.
I would love to give away that.
The big ones, the 6-figure ones, not the little baby ones. Those are.
Yeah. I would love to give away the Texas Hold'em one. That would make my day. I gave out my first ever straight flush the other day.
On UTH? Oh, yeah. You go on 3 card.
On UTH. And he had the progressive. He got the progressive. So I pulled the community hand had a flush. So everyone was like pushing, getting paid flush. And then I flipped this guy's cards over and I was like, holy shit. I was like, you have a straight flush. Like, I was so excited. I was so lit. And it was in the progressive too.
Damn.
It was really exciting. It was
that's
super
awesome.
exciting.
Yeah, that's so much fun. I love that. Did he know he had it the whole time?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't know? That's even better.
He didn't know. And he played after the flop flip because he had like a 3, 4 or something
Oh,
of
so
clubs. It was something terrible.
That's great. I love that.
And so he played because then he had a flush in the flop, and then I flipped over. No, wait. I don't think he realized. I think he just saw the flush, and then I saw the straight flush, and he was like, oh, what? But he didn't really know how to play. And that was great. Like, he came, he sat down, he was like, I don't really know. And the guy next to him was super nice, was like helping him out. And then boom, he hit it. And I was like,
that's so much fun.
Phenomenal.
That's so much fun. I love that.
And then his like wife was sitting there, and I like gave him all these like purple chips, and I was like, Miss Bank Manager, you need to put these in your purse. Like, I was like, put these in your purse. She's like, really? I was like, yes, that's your job as a bank manager.
Yeah.
Put these in your purse.
Yeah, if you're not playing and
you can play with the rest of his house money. Like, put these in your purse.
That's your job. Husband, wife, partner, whoever you are, if you're standing behind them and they get a bunch of purple and yellow, you grab those.
Heck yeah.
And you put them away.
I love that.
And you pay for your whole Vegas trip.
Right? I had a guy one time tell me that. He's like, every time I come to Vegas, I want Vegas to pay for my Vegas trip.
Hell yeah.
I was like, that's a great trip. That's a great like motto when you come to Vegas.
Doesn't always happen, but the chances are really low. But
right. I think on roulette, the only time I've had a couple of people try and place bets after the wave, and I just like, but I always see it, so I just like pick them up, push them back, and I'm like, I already waved the table, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I've never really had anybody try and like
be malicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, the malicious part is the one that it used to happen a lot when I was a regular dealer back in California on baccarat, especially the big spread game, the one that takes commission, not the mini one. Yeah, because the table gets so much action. I'm sitting, and that table we sit, there's a dealer and a floor, and there's so many people just surrounding the table, especially if it's hot and everyone's winning. So you could have
over the
so
shoulder?
many people. Yeah, because it's just a table with a layout, and everyone can just put their bets everywhere.
Oh.
So it can get pretty insane if there's a lot of action, there's a lot of people, especially given the season, Chinese New Year. That place is so busy, and you just have to be very careful and make sure that people aren't taking advantage of you or taking shots.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
The other day in roulette, I had some lady who like kind of squeezed in on the side. She like threw me a 20 and she was just putting it on black. I changed her 20 because we don't do cash play. So I changed her 20, pushed her the 4 5s, and the guy next to her picked it up and put it in his pocket, like right in front of her and me. And I like looked at her.
Everyone starts looking at each other.
I like looked at her because I was like, did I miss something? Because I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, maybe I missed something.
Right, maybe they're
like,
together.
I don't know. Yeah. And then she like looks at him, and she was like, you just took my money. And he's like, no, I didn't. And I was like, no, that 20 that I just pushed her was hers, not yours. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And like reaches in and pulls it out. And I was like,
where did he think that 20 came from?
He wasn't like drunk, like. And I was like, were you just not paying attention, or did you really think right in front of both of us as I literally slid it to her that you were going to just
That's hilarious. You and her just look at each other like,
Because I was like, maybe I missed something. I was like, hold on. And then didn't. I wonder what type of like advantage players the regular dealers get.
I'm sure high limit is probably insane. Well, then again, I guess you wouldn't want to be an advantage player in high limit because you have so many eyes on you.
See, that's what I was thinking. Our floor, the advantage player floor, he told me like some guy got kicked out and he was counting in high limit. Yes. And I was like, why would you want to do that? Like, I'd rather be on the floor.
With all the hustle and bustle, with all the drunk
unless you're
people.
Just trying to make like a couple tens of $1,000s, like real quick.
Think you're just going to go in there.
And do a few hands.
Yeah,
like,
and leave.
Maybe. But I'm like, I would rather be on the floor and not get caught. But that's just me. But I also don't count, so I don't know.
Right. We don't really know how that whole thing works. So
I don't know that process.
I'm sure they have their own rhymes and reasons for things that they do. Actually, before we go into regular dealers, card counting. Have you ever seen that movie 21 with Kevin Spacey? Even though he's like super canceled. It's a good movie. We're not fans of Kevin Spacey anymore, but it's not like that. Card counting is not like that in Vegas. I'm sure a lot of people think like there's people out there with wigs and mustaches and there's like a whole like system.
There's a whole team and they give each other signals and stuff.
I don't think that's real life. I think these card counters, these advantage players are alone for the most part. I know there are teams because but then again, I don't know where the scale is, if this is an advantage player, I guess it could be, or just people trying to take shots, because they will have a team, one guy sitting over there, another guy sitting on this side of the pit, and he's looking at the hole card and giving the guy over there signals. So they'll look for a weak dealer, kind of like you were saying, one of the dealers that wasn't very good, a weak dealer who is not good at protecting their game, and they'll target that person.
Yeah.
And they'll take shots on them like that. So that's the only team that I know of that actually happens. But as far as card counting, like the movie 21, it's not like that.
Right. But it's also why they don't want you're not allowed to be on your phone at the table.
No phones,
you're not
no
allowed
glasses.
To take photos. You can't wear sunglasses. Like, that's why you can't do any of that at the table, because they're afraid you're going to be cheating or doing something like that.
But things are changing, because I've seen on YouTube like live streaming baccarat or live streaming blackjack, and I'm like, how do they get permission to do this?
I was gonna say, I wonder if they get special permission.
They have to.
I remember when like Apple Watches were like really starting to blow up. This like chick was like on her Apple Watch and was like talking in her Apple Watch, and like would keep checking it and like scroll it, and I looked at my floor because I was like,
yeah, what do I do? What's happening?
I was like, what? Like, is this the same thing as a phone?
Right.
And I like looked at her, and I think she knew, and she was like, and I was like, hey, like, I'm so sorry, like, you can't be on your watch. And she's like, oh, I'm just like texting my kids, they're in the room, we have a nanny upstairs. And I was like, no, I understand, but it's kind of the same as a phone, like, you're not allowed to be at the phone at the table, like, you can't be on your watch.
That's interesting. Yeah, because now you can live stream baccarat, apparently.
Right.
They did.
You can't have headphones in at the table.
No headphones. It different from poker. Poker, you can wear sunglasses, hats, have headphones, all that stuff. Yeah. But you can't do that on the table games.
But I think that's because you're playing with other people. You're not playing with the house.
Yeah, you're not playing house money. That's their money, yeah.
Definitely not like the movie. So.
No. The mustaches, the hats, the wigs, the
only time you see that is when it's a bachelorette party or a bachelor party, and they come in and they're dressed all funky, like, and they're all dressed together. They all have the hot pink like bob wigs.
Oh my gosh, yeah! Somebody has a sash.
The hot pink bob wigs. Or you know what? I saw a group of women one time walk through, and they were all dressed as old ladies.
I think, was I there? Did I see this?
Maybe, but I loved it.
Yeah,
like, there was like 15 of them. Like, there was a lot.
They were all...
And they were like walking through, and it took me a minute to realize, but they had like the muumuus on, and like the hair, and like canes, and like the big glasses. And I was like, I would do that. Like, that'd probably be the only like bachelorette theme that I would do, like, or like going out, like, let's dress up as old women and hit the club. I would love that.
I remember now. It was my friends back in Florida. If they're watching this, they know who they are. They did have a girls' night out, and they all dressed like old ladies.
So funny. I was with it. I was like, that's
what I thought funny. When I saw it. I was like, that looks like so much fun.
Yeah.
Just a whole bunch of little grannies out on the town.
Yes. So cute. I was like, I can't do the like hot pink wigs.
No,
sashes.
So tacky. Every time I see that, I'm like, I would never, but
cheesy.
Good for you guys.
The t-shirts.
The hat
Bride
that
squad,
says.
Like, I just, nah, it's not.
Same vagina forever.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I just can't. But the old lady one, I thought that one was funny.
That's fun. That's different. That. Yeah. So, transition.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of regular dealers, going back to those guys, girls, ladies, you've never been a regular dealer. Would you want to be a regular dealer?
It looks boring. Like, they don't get as much action as we do. The uniforms obviously aren't as cute. I don't think our uniforms are cute, but I'd rather wear our uniforms over that uniform. Like, and then you just see the regular dealers who have been in the business for 30 years, and they're like super hunched over, and they don't smile.
They don't smile.
Like, it's just not what I want for myself. I would go be a regular dealer at a casino on the Strip that didn't have a party pit. If it didn't have a party pit, we get all the action, like.
True.
And then I see like the graveyard dealers come in, and I'm like, fuck this, man. Like, you're telling me you stand and you stare at this wall for 8 hours?
8 hours.
You don't see anybody come in?
Doing absolutely nothing. Watching all the late or early morning, late night infomercials, because that's all that's on TV.
All that's on TV. You get the stragglers that are coming in at 5 a.m., the bums, the hookers, the drunkies. No, thank you. Nope.
you're watching all the highlights over and over and over
Yeah, they
again.
do on repeat.
Repeat. I was a regular dealer. Oh man, for me, I like I said in the first episode, I like being a party pit dealer over being a regular dealer any day. It's so much more fun. The attention we get is different. The way players treat us is so different. And we are the party pit. So we're the party. People treat us like the party. Yeah. There's just so much fun, right? Because when I'm at work, I have a persona, a work persona. I'm giggling and laughing and I'm interacting. Like last night, I feel bad saying this, but because this doesn't happen all the time. I'm exhausted. We're all exhausted. We all always run on like 3 hours of sleep, average. This guy last night was tipping $5 at almost every single hand, even when he was losing.
Nice.
So, but it was because we were conversating and we were just talking. So the more I laughed and like engaged with him, he was just like, come on, Krystal. And then he'd add $10 for me. And it was only 40 minutes of that. And I got off the table and I was just like,
drains.
That was a lot of work.
It's very draining.
Made $300.
Yeah.
But I was just like,
it's draining.
Whew, that was a long 40 minutes.
You gotta laugh at the same stupid jokes every night, multiple times a night.
Yeah. Different person, but
that 9
same
was
joke.
upside down. Oh, it had 20. You're right. Like, what am I doing? Like, different persons, same corny jokes that get said. And yeah, for you to like make money like that, it's like talking and counting and dealing and like socializing, and that's how you make the money. But sometimes, you ever like get off your shift and just have to sit in your car for a second?
Absolutely.
Like,
sit there and just decompress.
I pretty much sprint to my car. Like, I'm power walking so fast.
I've seen you, and you are power walking.
I don't talk to anybody.
Tunnel vision when you're going.
I don't talk to anybody. I purposely dress like a bum. Like, I don't want anything from anybody at that point. I get to my car, I speed home, and I'll just sit in my driveway for like 15 minutes before I go inside.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Sometimes my husband's like, why aren't you in the house yet? And I'm like, you know why.
Yeah.
You know why.
And then working with girls in the break room, like a lot of times it's a lot of talking in the break room, a lot of socializing. And sometimes I love it. But sometimes I'm like, no.
I just want to stare at my phone. Don't talk to me.
Yeah. I really appreciate it. Every once in a while it'll be quiet in there. Like if you get a good group of girls and you're just like a quiet, and I'll walk out and I'll be like, thanks for the quiet break, ladies.
Yeah. I love it too. Sometimes
it's a lot. It's a lot of socializing. I feel like it's kind of like stripping. Like it's very mentally draining.
It is, right? We make good money for what we do, but it always comes at a cost.
Yeah, like, and it's a lot of like you expelling yourself to like keep the fun party going. It's something I've been doing. I've been trying to do more recently because when I first started working there, I was like super lively, and then I kind of hit like a lull for a little bit. And, like, because I used to order a round of shots for all of my tables. The cocktail server would be like, can I get you guys anything? I'd be like, shots! Like, and I would just go off of what everybody's drinking and be like, tequila! Like, tequila shots, come on! And this one time, a group was like, you want a shot? I was like, absolutely. Obviously, can't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't actually think he was going to give me one. Brought me a shot.
Oh.
I didn't actually think he was going to bring me one. Brought me a shot, gave it to me. And I was like, I can't take this. He's like, sure you can. Just go under the table real quick. And I'm like looking up at the billions of cameras above me. And I'm like, okay, right? So it's like 3 guys and I have like a random dude next to me. So I take the roulette marker, the little dolly dongle marker, whatever. It's the thing that marks the numbers. And everyone's like, cheers. So I take that thing, flip it upside down, cheers with them. And I slide my shot to the guy next to me. I'm like, here, take this. And he like throws it back real quick. But you know what's wild is the cocktail server brought it for me. And I was like, girl.
If I could, I would, but I can't.
Why would you do that to me?
I always say yes too. I was like, yeah, of course I want one. And then I usually just do a little like, I make a fake cup and I go beep with everyone.
No, and then she brought it to me. But recently I've been trying to be more lively and more party again. Because I realized I had more fun doing that too. And yeah, it's like tiring at the end of the night, but it does make the night better and more fun and happier. And you make more money, so. Yeah,
I made $300 off this guy. I learned all about him and learned that he's married. He has twins. He's from Arizona.
Oh, I love Arizona. What I have been doing recently is I've been trying to guess what people do for a living.
Ooh, that's a fun game.
And it is fun. It's so fun. So, like, you know, after you, like, have been talking to them for a little bit, like, I'll be like, what do you do for a living? Wait, let me guess. Like, let me guess what you do for a living. So then I'm looking at them. I'm processing all the information I have, right? And I always go, let me see your socks and shoes. And they're like, what? And I'm like, let me see your socks. I need to see your shoes. I need to see your shoes. And I need to see the type of socks you wear. And then they're like, so then they're sitting at the table and they're like, trying to get their foot up in the air.
Yeah.
But it tells you a lot what type of shoes they wear.
What if they're wearing sandals? They're on vacation.
That tells you a lot, though. So I had this guy, and he was in, like, jeans, just, like, a shirt. All of his friends clearly do some type of, like, construction, like, their little country.
Okay.
Like,
right,
labor work.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, why are your hands so soft? And all of his friends start laughing, right? But he didn't have, like, calluses or anything. Yeah. So I'm, like, trying to look at everything, right? And he's like, I was like, give me a hint. I'm like, I get 3 guesses, and I get 1 hint. Mm-hmm. I say, give me a hint. And he goes, he's like, I work with minors.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, like, juveniles, like, underage, like
younger I went,
people.
Like, people mining. Like, mining for coal. Like, that's where my brain went.
Because that's where he went. That was his job.
Okay.
But clearly, it was just me. He's like, you're never going to be able to guess it. And I'm like, minors? What? Like, okay, you have soft hands, whatever. I'm like, are you a correction officer? He's like, what? Because he had, like, these combat boots on. Okay. Like, these good, like, nice combat boots and, like, straight jeans. So I'm like, okay, like, he's, like, casual, you know, like.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you not a corrections officer? He's like, what? And I'm like, you work with minors. Like, I'm confused. So then I, like, take 3 guesses. He's like, no, I'm a minor engineer. So he, like, works on, like, the equipment that minors use. And I was like, oh my God, I probably would have guessed it if I hadn't thought juveniles, if I had thought, like, in the coal mining. And then I had another guy the other day.
Hilarious. I would have died on the table. I would have been like, give me a minute.
And I'm like, I was like, you said minors. And he's like, yeah, minors. And I was like, oh my God, I'm thinking children. I had another 2 guys play roulette with me, and they were in, like, polos, like, cargo shorts. I was like, let me see your shoes and socks. Mm-hmm. They both had, like, Nike, like, sleek sneakers on, ankle socks. And I'm like, okay, clearly, I was like, you play golf for fun? Because clearly they do. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, you do something like corporate business. And they were like,
finance.
Yeah. They're like, kind of. And I was like, you guys work with people? Like, do you have, like, clientele that's how you make your money? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, they wouldn't give me my hint, though.
Oh.
Because they were like, it'll give it away.
Oh.
And so I was like,
typical job?
Yeah. So okay. I was like, okay. And I was like, is it something, like, in the medical industry? And they're like, kind of. So I was like, okay, you guys sell medical equipment to hospitals. That was my guess. And they were like, no, we're plastic surgeons.
Oh.
But I was kind of close.
Whoa.
I was kind of close.
Yeah.
But it was exciting because, and then I was like, because the reason I thought that was because they kept asking me about my appearance. They were like, how do you like your outfit? And I was like, oh, I wish it was smaller. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I wish our outfits were smaller.
Yeah.
I wish it showed a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then he was asking me about, like, my teeth and if I had braces, like, a lot about my appearance. And I was like, no, I've never had braces.
Yeah, but I
just got lucky.
Plastic surgeon vibes, yeah.
Right. And I was like, I wish I had processed that in my head. So I was like, they do golf, like, they make business deals, but they were very clean cut. Like, they didn't have jewelry on. They both had, like, simple wedding bands. They were very clean. Their nails were clean. Their hair was, like, buzzed. Like, everything was very clean about them. So I was like, okay, like, something corporate, medical, like, and then they were like, we're plastic surgeons. And I was like, But that's my fun thing that I like to do with people.
I'm going to do that.
I like to try and guess. And I say I get 3 guesses and I get 1 hint. And then I try and, like, process it. But I can only do that with people that I've been talking to. Because, you know, some people just come in, they play, they don't talk a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's fine. We can be cordial.
Right.
Just deal your cards.
But if we're, like, socializing, we hit, like, a lull in our conversation, then I'm like, okay, let me guess what you do for a living.
See, that's so much fun. See, I don't think you can do that as a regular dealer. I mean, you can. It just doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I would be a dealer. I would be a regular dealer working swing at a casino, at, like, a higher end casino. If I was like, if, like, a few years down the line, I'm like, okay, this is probably what I'm gonna do, like, for the rest of my life, I would be like, let me go somewhere that I could do this the rest of my life, you know?
You would be a high limit dealer just to keep you engaged.
I'd have to be, man, because I can't be bored.
Yeah.
I can't be bored. Like, I hate our slow nights. Anytime it's slow, I'm like, EO, get me out of here. Like,
We're all dying.
I cannot be dead. Like I know, like, daytime kind of gets a little bit of action, but they're slow. Like, Grave, I could never do Grave.
I think I could do Grave depending on the property, because higher end casinos, your high limit players, like I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions, those players, they play for like 3-4 days straight. So Grave dealers tend to get those players. So you could be in a salon, you could be in a high limit room, and this guy's been there for like 48 hours already. Oh yeah. Hasn't showered, hasn't brushed their teeth.
And they just play for like a few days?
Yeah. They don't sleep.
Do they get food delivered to them?
Yeah. They're high limit. They get what the hell they want.
That's bonkers.
So I think I could be a regular dealer on Grave if I was in high limit like that. Because I would love to just be like, this guy was in there. He's been in there for 3 days. He smells so bad. He lost $2 million already, right? Like that's the stuff I live for. Like the stories, the whoa.
Oh my gosh.
The whoa factor of it all.
All right. Regular dealers.
Love, hate with the regular dealers. Some of them love us, adore us. Some of them
not so much. I feel like I have a great relationship with the black and whites.
Yeah, me too. I get along with everyone. Like I give you the benefit of the doubt. Like take you for face value, and I have no judgments.
I like the black and whites. I feel like I have a good relationship with them. Yeah. But I've heard stories, and I've heard like things that they've like certain black and whites have said about us and stuff. And
that's what I was gonna get to is I've never had any of the regular dealers say anything to me again. I'm the type of person where I know that little piece of joy when you get tapped off the table even 5 minutes early, and I'm like, I'm going to go do that for this dealer today.
Oh, yeah. I do that every day.
Yeah.
Because believe me,
you push people out. I don't. I open the table.
Oh, yeah. So, well, you come in later, yeah.
On the weekends when I'm there and I get to tap out, I, like, look forward to it. I'm like, they're going to be so happy.
Right. Or even if I'm first break or something, like, I'll go downstairs and I'll tap a dealer out anyway.
And wait for the,
or if I'm supposed to dance first, like, I'll tap out a dealer anyway because I know I'm there a few minutes early.
Just
and
that,
nice.
like...
It's nice to go home.
Yeah, because when they tap us out at the end of the night and my person gets there a few minutes early, I'm like... Thank you. Have a great night. Yeah. Good luck.
Yes.
I hope you guys have a good night. Yeah.
Yes. I'll be like, this player playing pink is the bomb. Everybody else you can kill.
Yeah.
This guy's a good tipper.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, you're going to make money. You're going to make money.
Right. Like, I'll let them know. I'll be like, this player's great, or this person's super drunk. I'll tell them that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, this person is ridiculously drunk. He shouldn't be playing, but my floor won't kick him off. Like,
yeah. So I think it's just it's
like a mutual respect thing.
Treat
your
them.
coworker.
Yeah. Right.
Be civil. Come in on time. Like,
courtesy.
It's just basic things. But I think like the party pit thing is like they see these young girls who are like, bah, and
they think we're irresponsible.
Yeah, and they think we're responsible. And then when you come down late every day, then it's like, these girls, like.
Right, because anyone who works in a place where you clock in and out, you have the window after your actual, right, if you start at 8 and you have to clock into a machine, most of the time you have a little buffer.
Yeah. 3
minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever it is. A lot of people who go by that think I can clock in at 8:03 and still be on time for work. What they're not considering is that courtesy of somebody on the table that you're supposed to push out is 3 minutes after their time, and that whole mess. And
right. And I remember one girl was like, Tori, why do you go downstairs so early? And I'm like, I go downstairs on time. What are you talking about? Because our break room is upstairs, right? So we say we go downstairs to the floor. It's like, I go down there on time, and they're like, well, we don't get tapped out till 3:05, so I'm not tapping them out till 3:05. And I looked at her and I was like,
but that's not even the same people.
I was like, yeah, that's what I said. I said, those are not the same people. I was like, and on top of that, I was like, are you fighting fire with fire? Like, are we in 5th grade? Like, do I need to tell you? Like, one wrong thing or like 2 wrong things does not make it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, how happy would you be if someone came downstairs and tapped you out at 2:53? Right. And they were like, oh, I'd be pretty. Exactly. I'm on the floor already making money. Like, if you're not coming in until 7:07, you just missed 14 minutes that you could have possibly been making money.
Right. How many times do we come in and we hear about the really good player who just dropped a bunch of money for day shift, and you could have caught him for a few minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah.
He could have been on his last whatever hand and was ready to color up and threw you some money, right?
Yes.
Like, come on.
I did have a really nice black and white one time. It was the end of the night and I was getting tapped off the table. And the guy was like, oh, like one more hand. And he like threw a $200 bet out for me. And I was like, oh, like, thank you. Like, I have to go. Right. Because she's here. I was like, thank you. I have to go. And she was like, no. Like, you should play that hand. And I played it and I won. So I got $400 off of one hand. And she was like, see, look, I'm happy you stayed. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Because that should have been hers.
That should have been her money.
That should have been hers. And we don't share money with the black and white. So I was like, that should have been hers. Like, that would have been a great way to start the night. Like, quick $400.
So, last thing about regular dealers and us is money. Depending on the property. Party pit, usually we keep our own, as in the group of party pit girls, we split it amongst each other. It's not like that across all party pits, because like Planet Hollywood and Golden Nugget, they split with their whole 24-hour pool. But if you are lucky enough to have a party pit position where you're only sharing with your party pit girls,
it's always better.
You make, you tend to make more money than the regular dealers. And I'm saying across the strip.
Yeah.
You're now hanging out with the regular dealers at Wynn, Resorts World, on those places who make really good money. You're kind of hanging out with those people when it comes to your pay scale versus regular dealer, like on a regular whatever.
Yeah.
So anyways, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Is that it?
What do we say?
We always end the episodes with, remember to tip your dealers, tip your cocktail waitresses, and don't walk through the pit.
Don't walk through the pit. Should we explain that?
Next episode.
Next episode we'll explain not walking through the pit. Don't fucking walk through the pit. Don't do it.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Yay.